Well, we've already got a partially full room here. This is good. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to let everyone come on in here, fill out the room for a little bit, and then we'll get going. Morning, Wendy, and, Neil, and this is great. Lots of new faces too, and that's what I see here. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm going to share. I'm going to take a moment right now as the room is filling out to put a link to the slide deck we're going to use in the chat. Okay. It's presentation. Right there. Okay, so everything you'll see today that I'll go over and all the links are in that slide deck. And I know folks can only see it after they join the meeting. So I'll paste that in again here. Let's give it another minute for folks to roll in, and then we'll get going. Slide deck. Let's get this. That's interesting. Somebody Zoom is accessing my screen. It's like, yeah, it does that about 240 times a day. That's not very enlightening. All right, if I go into full screen mode, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Good. It's moving. All right. And I need to get up some more. I'm going to give it one more minute here for folks to come in. Yeah, we got a pretty good crowd. So as I anticipated, we have an approach on handling introductions because there's a lot of folks, and this is what we hoped to get going with this new working group. And I will also get the chat up. All right, for folks who are just joining here, I'm going to again paste in the presentation link because it will have all the links. I will also paste in certain links as we come to them just because they're important. In fact, I will paste one right now. Today I'm going to go, actually, let's see here. Click through 1 second. I'm going to this right here. I'm just going to copy this link. So this is something I've used a few times, calling the bio page, and we have a lot of folks on. So I'm make sure that's the right one. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that bio page is anyone can write to it, and since we'll have a limited time here to give introductions, I do want to do introductions, but we got to keep them really short, or else we'll never get through the rest of the agenda. So what I encourage everyone to do is take a second, and you're welcome to put something in the chat if you want, but the chat's ephemeral, and if you go and add your name and whatever bio info you'd like to share with the rest of the group to the bio page, then we'll have a record of that, and we will again with your. It's up to you what you want to put there. We'll link to that bio page. It's in the Trust RP Google Drive from the notes so that folks can have an easy way of saying, hey, learning more about the folks who were there. That said, I do want to briefly, we have a big group, but there are a lot of folks here that I'm certain have not met each other. This is a brand new working group, so I want to hang on here. I want to back up and just first welcome everyone to the kickoff meeting of the North America and EU kickoff meeting of the Decentralized Trust Graph Working Group. And this is a joint working group of Trust over IP and the Decentralized Identity Foundation. So I want to welcome everyone from both of those. Now, if you're not a member of either of those yet, you've just heard about this new group. We're going to cover how membership works. We're not going to be going into any IPR specific topics here today. But of course, it is important, this being a JDF working group at the Linux Foundation. I am sharing with everyone here on the screen the member participation requirements of this working group at the JDF Foundation. So if you are new and not a member of either organization yet, haven't joined the working group, the one thing is you are fine to attend calls, just not asked not to participate or contribute anything that might be considered IPR. But again, we're not going to be going into that here today. All right, so here's the agenda of what we're going to try and cover here in this opening call. We have exactly an hour, and I think we should be able to comfortably get through it. There probably won't be a lot of time for discussion. That's what we're going to dive into in subsequent calls. But we will get through reviewing, what membership's like, the charter, sharing the background materials that will help bring everyone up to speed if you're new to the topic. Talk about proposed initial task forces and chairs. We have a Discord channel already, and then we'll end with meeting schedule and then just general discussion, Q&A about this new effort as quickly as we can get to that. To share that with everyone. So that done, we're going to, I'd love to quickly do a round of just introductions. I will call out folks in the order that they're on the list. And if you just say your name and maybe one sentence about where you're coming from, we'll keep it short. We'll try and get through all the introductions in if it's 30 seconds a person, we can get through them in 10 minutes here. And again, I think I will paste the bio page link for anyone that's come more recently. That's the same one there, yes. So in the chat is the bio page link. Feel free to add more information there, but we'll just start down. Again, I will call out folks in order. Neil Thompson.
All right, my name is Neil Thompson. My involvement in Trust over IP is largely from a data perspective. Currently, I'm working on a hospitality and travel profile, an in-depth understanding of needs and requirements, and that's a project actually out of DIF, but it overlaps heavily with the data principles in Trust over IP.
Fantastic, thank you. Scott Perry.
So I'm Scott Perry. I am a co-chair of the steering committee of the Trust over IP, as well as leading some of the governance efforts in the marketplace. And that's my perspective coming to this meeting.
Fantastic. Alberto Leon.
Hey everyone, pleasure to meet you all. My name is Alberto Leon, Senior Software Engineer at the Applied Social Media Lab at Harvard. Interested in some of the ZK stuff and have plans with the FPP community to collaborate.
Super, fantastic. Russ Hayward.
Hey everyone, my name's Russ. I'm in Minneapolis. Used to be an old sovereign steward with Drummond way back in the day. I'm a new category innovator on distributed human experience. And I really feel like what we're doing right here is kind of the foundation for a new digital society, something I've been thinking about for 8 years. So I'm really excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Super to have you here. Great. Brendan Miller.
Hi, Brendan Miller, also with the Applied Social Media Lab at Harvard University, principal engineer there, working with Alberto on digital identity solutions for social media. Nice to be here.
Fantastic. Carly Heitema. Did I get that right, Carly?
Yeah, you did. Let me turn on the camera. Sorry, I'm Carly Heitema. I'm a contributor here at Trust over IP, and I'm a staff member at the University of Guelph in Canada. Thanks.
And I have to put in the primary generator of bite-sized trust videos at Trust Over IP. Feel free to put a link to those. They're just fantastic. Next, Charles Lenihan.
Oh, hey, I'm currently doing currently I try to make my living with Carrie and VLEI kind of stuff, but I was interested in this group because before I got in digital identity, I was a machine learning applied machine learning guy, and I made centralized trust graphs, so I was interested to learn about decentralized trust graphs.
Fantastic. Daniel Glintz.
Hi, Drummond. Hi, everyone. I'm Daniel from Switzerland, consultant, and particularly interested in data privacy topics and trustworthy AI. So looking forward to these discussions here.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Daryl O'Donnell.
I'm Daryl O'Donnell, been around Trust for IP since day one, and I am the executive director for the IRA Association.
Fantastic. Philippe Pinto.
Hey guys, so I am an IoT guy. I'm trying to build self-sovereign personal digital twins and AI, a way to anchor AI. And I look forward to see where Drummond's taking us next.
All right, Jeff Turk.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jeff Turk, and I'm interested in the decentralized trust graph, specifically as it applies to the first person project. And yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Fantastic. Hart Montgomery.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hart. I work for the Linux Foundation.
He is CTO of LF Decentralized Trust too, just to point it out. Hart, I hope you can stay for a little bit. You and Min can talk a little bit about the background of the of our project. Jonathan Bellack.
Yeah, hi. 30 years internet nerd, 15 years as a product management executive at Google and publisher ads, and then counter abuse and safety. Was the founding director of the Applied Social Media Lab at Harvard, where I left in February. I now write a newsletter called Platformocracy, advocating for online democracy, and really excited to read your white paper on Friday. Thanks.
Fantastic. Super glad you could come here. Jorge Flores.
Hey everyone, I'm Jorge Flores, co-founder of Entidad. We're a social impact startup based out of Los Angeles, California. And we've been building a community relationship management platform built on top of many of the same technologies referenced in the first person project white paper. So very much interested in mapping our solution to the output that's going to come out of this working group.
Fantastic. Lynn Brooks.
Greetings, everybody. I'm Len from Vancouver, Canada, and my focus is on community engagement and identity. And I appreciate very much the opportunity to sit in on this and get a better feel for the technical side of things. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Margaret Novotny.
Hi, I'm Margie Novotny. I am in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and my background is in open source product development, most recently at Wikipedia. And I've been working with Drummond on first person for the last 4 months or so.
Super stuff. Martina Colpondinos.
You got it. Hi, everyone. My name is Martina. I'm the founder of Cosmo Connect, a consulting company with a focus on self-sovereign identity. I'm one of the co-editors of the first person project white paper, and have been working together with Drummond on the first person project and with Margie since the beginning of the year. I'm located in Zurich, Switzerland, and yeah, happy to be here and meet all of you. Exciting that you're here. Thank you.
Great. Next on my list is Min Yu, who is our key support here. She'll be talking later. But go ahead, Min.
Hi, yeah, nice to meet everybody here. My name is Min. I work for the Linux Foundation, supporting a number of projects, one of which is of Decentralized Trust, of which Trust over IP is part of. So I'm here just to see how I can support this new working group. We, enable the infrastructure so that you all can collaborate. So thank you.
Super glad to have you with us. Nicholas Rass.
Hi there, Nicholas Rotz, Senior Partner at Key State Capital, also a member of the Steering Committee of Trust over IP, and fully invested in the SSI and VLEI carry ecosystems.
Fantastic. Nikki Hickman.
Oh, hi folks. I'm Nikki. I'm based in the UK. I'm a freelance product and innovation manager and been working with digital trust and identity for a long time. And I'm interested in this working group as an if there's an alternative to biometrics, then that's my interest area. But I'm expecting to be outside my comfort zone here, as it all seems very technical, but that's the way to learn. So looking forward to working together.
Fantastic. And Nikki, we're gonna they're all the things as we'll cover here in the charter. It's not just technology by any means. Excellent. Paul Trevithick.
Hi, Paul Trevithick, based in Boston. I'm the executive director of the Me Foundation, and we're looking to build on and contribute to the first person project tech.
Fantastic, Paul. Rob Aaron.
Hey, Rob Aaron, entrepreneur, focused on peer-to-peer content distribution, and just couldn't be done until IRA came into focus and the first person project. Loving it. Great things are going to happen.
Fantastic. And thank you again for finding that Daniel Hartman article this morning. Russ Haywood.
This will be my second time introducing Drummond. Are we going around twice?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Happy to keep talking if you'd like.
Thought we had hit you earlier, but it's the list, it moves around a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. Sankushan.
Oh, name is Sergey.
Go ahead, Sergey.
Oh, sorry, I missed. Sorry for that. Contributor to Me Foundation, and we are building a decentralized agent wallet, and we are interested in extending first-person credentials with live data sharing and capability-based security. Thank you.
Beautiful, excellent. All right, and now Sankushan.
Hi, my name is Shankarshan. I am dialed in from India. My recent interest in trust over IP is around the topic of trust registries, which is kind of not exactly aligned with what we are trying to discuss today. But this is also something that I read the white paper and was terribly interested to follow up. Thank you.
Fantastic. Trev Harmon.
I work at the Digital Impact Alliance, and mostly just in observer mode in here today, but very excited to see how this is shaping up, especially with Drum and I having had this conversation over I don't know how many years now at this point.
Yes, a very long time. Thank you. Trev's the guy who got me to start using a password manager, believe it or not. All right, Vlad Fisher.
Hey everyone, I'm also at Me Foundation working with Paul and Sergey, and I'm interested to learn about your tech.
Fantastic. Walid,
Hi everyone. So I'm a researcher from University of Vienna in Austria, and I'm very interested in digital identity and specifically the multidimensional aspects of trust. So
excellent. Glad to have you here. Wendy Seltzer.
Thanks. Wendy Seltzer, lawyer, technologist, governance and standards wonk, and collaborator on the First Person project.
Fantastic. And Will Kreth.
Hey, Drummond. Will Kreth, founder CEO of Hand, a reputational DOI registration agency for notable public figures, where we've been part of the Creator Assertions Working Group and C2PA, and working with folks like Scott Perry around identification of notable public figures, as I mentioned, through reputational citations based on their works. And so glad to be here today.
That is fantastic. Now, according to my list, we've hit everyone, but have we missed anyone? I see one or two note takers in there. I didn't call them out. Did we miss anyone, or anyone joined since I started calling names? There we go. Okay, one more time. I'll put in the bio page link. It's still the same. Yes, there we go. All right, so feel free, even, you just had a short introduction. If you want to add more information about yourself or your interest in the project, feel free to add it to the bio page. Again, we will link that from the notes so folks will be able to go to it. All right, that was great. And I think, we can sense just how much interest there is in this topic. Our goal here today is just to make sure we're all on the same page about what we're doing here. I'm going to start out just with the topic of membership, and making sure that we're all signed up properly, or can get signed up properly for working together in this working group. Min, do you want to speak to this at all? I know Daniela was just adding this information last night.
Let's see. Yes, Danielle and I worked on the verbiage. Yeah, what you're displaying on the slide is accurate. If you're already an existing Decentralized Trust member, you still need to sign a Trust over IP membership agreement in order to contribute to a Trust over IP member, a Trust over IP working group. And to join Trust over IP as a member, there is at the contributor level, which is a free tier, you have to sign this contributor agreement. Looks like, Drummond, you have the link on the slide. As an organization, but if you don't want to sign your organization as a member, you can also participate as an individual. We're trying to update the link for non-member to join. My understanding is that, sorry, I'm not that familiar with Trust over IP, but non-members are only participate in a working group as an observer, provide feedback, but not necessarily formally contribute their work to Trust over IP working group. But correct me if I'm wrong, Drummond.
No, that's correct. And I'm also going to get.
We'll get that link up in the next couple of weeks as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was also going to mention, we'll just brought it up. It is a joint participation working group with DIF. So DIF members are also qualified to participate in this. And that was a joint decision of the two steering committees. So welcome also DIF members. Yeah, and I put the links into the chat. As I said, I will repeat again. I can put a link to the whole presentation so you can activate all the links in here. So thanks, Min. Appreciate that. Again, I also put in the email address for any questions about membership because it's not always the easiest thing to work your way through the different options. Okay, so under the JDF working groups, Joint Development Foundation, set up for all JDF working groups at LF, you make 3 selections in terms of IPR terms for a working group. And these are standard for all of the Trust RP working groups, except the Carry Suite working group uses a different set. But so I'll just on the screen here for everyone. Our output will all be Creative Commons, copyright, Creative Commons Attribution 4.0. Our patent mode is W3C mode based on their patent policy, and any source code Apache 2.0. So again, this is just part of our charter that was approved by the Trust RP Steering Committee. And then, so speaking of the charter, here is the there's some other provisions, but the only one that really has any depth is our scope statement. And I putting it on the screen here just takes a minute to read. What I've highlighted there is really, when we were, a bunch of us, working in this area of like, wow, how would a decentralized trust graph working group, what would it have to cover? What are all the pieces we needed? And we wanted to, as we've worked that out, and of course, nothing's done till it's done, but we wanted to include these various components that we recognized were needed. So it was clear, sort of, the scope of the working group was very clear. So it's a little longer charter than some, and it does suggest, and I want to highlight something that came up in our introductions. As the Trust RP stack is about technology and governance, Decentralized Trust Graph Working Group, even though there's a lot of technology here, there is governance of how this is going to work and how ecosystems are going to adopt and use it. Digital trust ecosystems, super important. So it's not just about technology. And I want to especially highlight, you'll see one of the proposed task forces is on UI and UX, because that's going to be a critical component, both for how folks use it successfully and how we can help prevent harms. And I will, emphasize any socio-technical technology has to, deal with prevention of harm as much as it, promotes, benefits and advantages. Any questions anyone have about the charter? Feel free to, I'm trying to keep an eye if there are any hands up, but just making sure we're all on the same page about that. All right, we're doing pretty good. We're about halfway through. And so what we'll do now is quickly, I'll put this up, and an easy thing to do here is I'm going to copy the link here on this first page and just put it right into the chat. And what we'll actually do here is I'm going to stop sharing it full screen and pop over to show you these pages here on that we have set up on the Trust RP Wiki. So we'll start out, here's the first one. So our wiki, each working group is a top level entry, and then any supporting content for that working group is under that branch. And we've created 5 pages with background information about critical pieces of the technology involved, that are all things called out in the charter. So at this top level, and I already put in a link. This is a shorter link, so if I put this in the chat, where did the chat go? 1 second. Yeah. All right, there's a longer link. This is a shorter one to the same page. So from that link, you can access all the rest of these that I'll be briefly taking us through. Move that out of the way. So our homepage has a high-level introduction, the same scope statement of our charter. We're going to talk about chairs, the co-chair role and task force chairing shortly. And then you're welcome. It's not a requirement, but you're welcome to add your name there to the as a member of that. Task forces we're going to talk about in a little bit, but as we decide on what those task forces are, we're going to list them all, and then they have their own home pages that we'll set up for each task force, and they can maintain their own branch of the wiki. We'll also, of course, be deciding on a table of deliverables, and we'll be on this, working out what our meeting schedule is. I'll also be covering that we already have a Discord channel we can start using immediately. And then the last sections of this page are just the information we've covered about participating and joining and intellectual property rights. So that's the base homepage. I'm going to quickly point out, sort of these major building blocks of decentralized trust graphs. And folks who have read the first person white paper are going to find these familiar. I wanted to bring a bunch of this information over and make sure that this is all contributed here to the working group, so it's shared regardless of whether you have any background with first person project or other discussions about decentralized trust graphs. So personal credentials, that I have a macro for that, so I'm happy to put that in here. Personhood credentials. If you haven't read that paper, that's one of the things that really got it started. You can see I even put in a note and said it's really highly recommended. I just put the link in the chat. I can't recommend enough that any member of this working group should be hopefully read the whole paper, but at least the 4.5-page executive summary. I know we have at least one co-author, Wendy Seltzer, here on the call with us. There may be other co-authors. There's 32 of them. But it's a landmark paper that really establishes, well, how would personal credentials work, and give us a way of solving these problems with DIDs and VCs, and not a global biometric database. So anyway, I'm just pointing that out. It is one of the core building blocks. Now, the other key piece that really led to the formation of brought Trust RIP work into this all was the a second type of credential on the decentralized trust graph, verifiable relationship credentials. We emphasize that in the process of doing these peer-to-peer issuance of credentials, there are really two parts. There's the establishment of pairwise private DID exchange, which sets up this thing we've been calling the personal private channel between any two parties. You see Bob and Alice here suggesting, of course, person to person, but in fact, verifiable relation credentials could be between whoever is creating the relationship and whatever they're connecting to. And surprise, surprise, we also in the first person white paper and in discussions believe this is directly applicable to personal AI agents, and having a verifiable relationship with that agent, using that for control and delegation, authenticated delegation. So that's step one. And then once you have that channel, the pink shaded portion here, then you can the two agents and wallets can exchange verifiable relationship credentials. This is the simplest form, and all I'm suggesting here is, as this page says, one of our key deliverables is a schema and the trust task protocols for exchange of verifiable relationship credentials. So personal credentials, verifiable relationship credentials. Again, if you have any pressing questions as they come up, just I'm going to continue and say the third key piece of the equation is for privacy preservation. If we're going to have these standardized credentials in a decentralized trust graph, how can they be shared in a privacy preserving way? And there are several quotes on this page from the personal credentials paper, because they're very articulate in that about why the privacy preservation should use ZKP. Hart, if you're still with us, can you just say a little bit about the work that you've been helping coordinate and leading on this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, one of the really interesting things about first-person credentials, as many of you have heard already, um, is that the existing ZKPs for digital identity and digital credentials typically don't work. We need something more flexible and more general purpose if we want to be able to handle VRCs and proofs of VRCs, because there's this sort of hierarchical zero knowledge proof structure that's inherent to what we're trying to do. Um, so what this means is we need a new framework, and we've been putting this together. So this has been led by the cryptography team at Berkeley, who are some of the very best zero knowledge researchers in the world, if not the very best. So it's been a real privilege to have them and work with them on this. If you'd like to see sort of what we're doing, we just got a lab approved in LFTT where we place the code, or where we will place the code. So above in the chat, you can see where the lab is, and you can also see the existing code that's going to get migrated over. Happy to answer any questions on this. We should have a technical paper describing the scheme and the formatting out pretty soon. When I say technical, I mean extremely technical. It's going to be a research paper, so it'll be written in that style and format. Yeah, we're excited about moving forward. And if you're familiar with the technology, I'd encourage you to go look at those repos I linked, and you can start playing around with it for yourself. Are there any
Cool.
questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say, any questions for Hart? And I'm just backing up to see, Hart, you might, if folks have joined, I'm backing, oh, I see, there it is, got it. I backed up, it's higher up. We will save the chat and include those links in the notes on this meeting. But I do encourage folks to take a look at that code. It's very exciting, the progress they've already made on the ZKP that we will need. All right, moving right along here. Then another really is a sort of key important part of the architecture in terms of privacy preservation is the longstanding subject of personas. And we're proposing a very proactive way of dealing with this. Really, I from my background look at this as privacy by design, take it all the way down to the architectural level of relationships on the internet. And so we have the potential with this diagram shows that the pairwise DIDs exchanged for relationships, is something from a UX standpoint no one should ever have to deal with, like IP addresses when you're browsing. You just should not have to deal with them at all. And they should just be handled automatically by your agents and wallets. The upper box is what we call persona DIDs, or VIDs, verifiable identifiers. And these are what a UX would surface and enable the person, the holder. I try and avoid the word user. Doc Searles, keeps pointing out that's in the case where we're talking about personal credentials. You're the person, and you have personas. You have different facets of your identity or relationships that you want to surface. And so this is an attempt to give you explicit control over that, whether it's at a fully public level or it's on a community or ecosystem level, or it's private control. So, and these persona DIDs are what can be shared and verified in in your relationships to allow you to intentionally control correlation. And in doing that and making it intuitive is going to be one of the real challenges we have in our architecture. So we have a page on that. I'm certain we'll, you know, it may be that we end out with a whole task force just on the what we've termed sovereign wallet architecture, because it's not a standard function of most wallets today. And lastly, I'm going to quickly, I think one of the hallmark features, if we're successful in this effort, is going to be our card exchange. The fact that when you do the pairwise DID exchange, you set up a channel, you exchange VRCs. Everything is basically two machines, two agents talking to each other. There's nothing human readable in that and relatable. But when you turn around and then say, oh, now we can exchange our cards, and our cards are just signed digital objects that you have a very simple, you know, unidirectional publish subscribe relationship, so they can be live and change over time. I know there's probably half the people on this call have been involved with efforts. I know I have been for you know, for literally 30 years to figure out how do we do this and finally have the quote electronic business card, right? That's live and shareable. I think it goes way beyond that. There's already some very interesting ideas about our card design and sharing. But again, I think it will become one of the hallmark features of our decentralized trust graph architecture. So I'm going to stop there and go back to, are there any questions? I want to point out this is all in our wiki, and every member of the working group should be able to, you know, as you join TrustRP and have an LFX login, you can join the wiki and contribute to these pages or pages we'll set up for each of our task forces. And this is a tool we're using all the time. And thank you. Yeah, any other links or relevant background that you want to you contribute, feel free to put in the chat, or we can add it to the notes. All right, again, I'm keeping an eye on hands if there are any questions, but we'll get back over to this. I'll go back to full screen here. So a couple other links for background information. There is the first person project white paper. I highly recommend for anyone who has time, listen to Jim Zemlin's keynote. It's on YouTube from the member summit last March. He just does a really compelling explanation of why this matters to the LF and the open source supply chain. And Phil Windley has a great blog post from the last IW sessions there explaining verifiable relationship credentials. Right, we have about 15 minutes left, and I want to quickly cover how are we going to organize our work, right? We got some, I think, 32 people joining us here today. We've got another call for APAC and folks that I know will be joining for that region. And many of us are veterans of creating, you know, working on these open standards in a global basis, and how do you best organize and move forward on the work. It's not an official part of the JDF process, but what we found at TrustRP is let the members of the working group self-organize into task forces, usually focused on specific deliverables, but sometimes just on specific problems or discussion areas or papers that they want to deliver. So this is just, these 5 are just suggestions. 4 of these were suggestions that we worked up in the first person project and are in that white paper. The 5th one has already been suggested by someone who, unfortunately, I won't name names, turned around and said that because of another working group they're part of in a different SDO, they can't be active in this one for IPR reasons. But they felt strongly that we should have consider how personal credentials could still be issued and supported in a peer-to-peer basis, so that you didn't we didn't have to rely exclusively on, their word was institutions of any kind. And I've had a good dialogue with that person, and there is a lot of thinking around how you can compose still strong trust graphs that don't necessarily have a very well-known authority issuing the personal credentials, and still get a lot of strength in the credentials. Hint, hint, it does involve use of biometrics locally, not any kind of a biometric database. Anyway, I'll stop there. Scott, go ahead.
So, this is all good and all that, but one thing that needs to happen initially, which is not here, is to do a risk assessment on the use of these credentials. Because I do believe that if we get the risk assessment correct, then we would be more targeted to do these types of requirement gathering, because then we would have risks tied to them as the governance meta model drives. So you're being very specific areas that define the technical requirements. How do we know that it's only technical requirements we don't know. What's the risk? What are we doing to address that risk? And then we can then establish task forces to ferret out, those types of things. So I think we're being presumptive here a little bit, until we get the risk assessment done appropriately.
I love it. Should we have a risk assessment task force?
Yes.
And who might be interested in chairing that, given the next slide here?
I will participate. Obviously I'm fairly extended, but I certainly will be actively involved in that.
Cool. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just pointing out one of the things that we found works well with task forces is one, or preferably two or more folks that say, okay, we'll help drive forward and self-organize that effort. So I'm just planting the seed. Please think about a task force you might be interested in. Again, that list was just as Scott pointed out, risk assessment. We didn't have that on the list. We need to self-organize the work, and it's up to all of us. Those are just suggestions. Nico, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the risk assessment. Would this be with regard to the technical risk as well as perhaps the ways in which these sort of identifiers are used in an open ecosystem? Like how wide is the scope of that risk?
Well, we already have a lot of information, okay? So I think we could delve into it. It's really the use, the whole stack use. Because obviously the requirements are going to be defined around the use of the trust over IP technical and governance stack. So typically you look at the use of the credentials, and understanding the ecosystem in how they are exchanged and relied upon. Okay, what are the factors? What are the risks associated for the reliance on these key credentials?
Right. So essentially determining appropriate access control for communities that would potentially accept this alongside, right, the technical requirements. I got it. I'd love to participate in that group.
Yeah, Scott schooled me in risk assessment, and it really covers everything, right? It's not just technical risks. So yeah, I do agree with Scott. It's an exercise we should go through, and it can do a lot to also surface the potential harms, right? And so yeah, great stuff. Again, think about it. If I back up again, these are just suggestions. We haven't created any task forces yet, and I want to reinforce self-organize, right? These are areas where based on my background working on the first person project, I know these are, the first four were things, hey, I know we got to pay attention to those. Number 5 was brought up as, hey, think about this. I would definitely ask risk assessment and agree with Scott. We should start out very early with, okay, let's have that as a background going into the whole thing. All right, as I mentioned, please think about, ones you might be interested, and we'll cover again our meeting schedule and how we prepare to work, because don't think that means you have to, chair and run weekly meetings or something like that. There are many different ways, and I think with the amount of work we have to do and the time frame we want to go, working asynchronously can work quite well. We have one task force in the TechnoStack working group at TrustRP that is entirely asynchronous. We don't have any meetings, and we have advanced that work nicely over the last, I don't know, I think it started in December. It's on a DID method, the did skid method. And so you can share a task force and not even have to come to meetings. Well, we'll suggest, but minimize the amount of time it actually takes and focus on just what you want to contribute or drive forward. I'm also going to bring up, of course, we need working group chairs. As you might expect, I'm happy to volunteer to be one of them. This is the heart of what I'm now working on since I left Jen on the first person project. But I would love, I personally feel that tri-chairs is optimal for a large working group. We have tri-chairs, for instance, at the steering committee of TrustRP. Two of them are here on this call, Scott and Carly, and it's a joy working with them, and it really does help you divide up the work. So feel free to reach out to me here. I put my or anyone else to just let us know, and then we can take that up on one of our channels, which I'm about to cover. We have 8 minutes left. So we're at the TrustRP all member meeting later today. You're going to hear that we are now starting the transition from Slack to Discord, and I'll grab this right here, the starting point, and get it into the chat. If you're not a member of the Discord server yet, hello, there it is. There is the link. You can go to, apparently this, Min provided this background information that you go there and generate an invite, I guess, Min. And then you join that Discord server using your choice of client. And you will see, since it serves all of LFDT, there are categories for all the different projects. And then under those categories are the channels for each one. So it's a little different than Slack, where you join one team at a time and then you add teams one by one. In this case, there's essentially the teams are the categories. And all of LFDT are members of that. So if you want to narrow down the number that show up in your window to the left, your navigation window, you just follow a specific category. And we're probably going to produce a video or a cheat sheet for more information how to do that. But once you get used to it, it really works very much like Slack. It's not quite as powerful, but they work very well, and they are the standard now for Linux Foundation projects. So we already have our channel set up. I put a welcome message in it yesterday, and so immediately starting after these meetings, we can begin discussions or questions on our Discord channel. Oh, I didn't even change the title of that slide. Okay, our last topic here is meeting schedule, and there is no good answer to this. There never is, and I'm going to suggest again the idea that we try and work async as much as we can, and rather than in some of our other working groups, each task force runs their own meeting weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever it is. task forces are welcome to do that. But the suggestion that I'd like to make is, since I think we're going to have a number of task forces and parallel efforts going on, that we just have one weekly meeting, hour-long meeting that works essentially as a stand-up for the task forces. And it's just to coordinate. There'll always be time for bringing up, new issues or considerations to everyone's attention. But otherwise, if we end out, as I expect, with 4, 5, 6 task forces, that we use that meeting just for coordinating. And then each of them works asynchronously, calls meetings as needed. But it gives us just enough to stay in sync and make progress. In which case, we only have to find one, or actually 2 slots, one North America, Europe, and one APAC slot. There's no magic way to do that. I don't have I haven't set up a doodle poll or something like that yet. We can do that, but we'll start that discussion on the Discord, and then we'll send out to everyone who has joined. We could. Yeah, and Min just put in the chat the address. So as we figure that out, and then Min will it'll go on the Trust Overview calendar, and I've understand it can also be added to the diff calendar through the diff folks. So we're not going to try and tackle specific times here right now. As I said, we'll probably come up with a poll or a rank choice list to see what will work best for people for the 2 time slots. And with that, we got through the agenda here, but we still have a couple minutes for any open questions or observations in the next 3 minutes. Again, I want to welcome everyone. I'm really excited to get this work going. Any thoughts that anyone wants to share before we close? Go ahead, Jonathan.
One thing I didn't hear you talk about, I'm curious, is funding and finding pilot use cases to start bringing this from proposal to reality.
Oh, that is a absolutely fantastic question. I'd be happy to dive in. So the work of the working group, as with any of our work on open standards, is that's volunteer work we're all doing together in this context. But of course, getting funding and having the market demand is a major piece of it. I'm happy to make that a topic, and we can bring that up in the channels. We do have to stay neutral in the work of the working group itself. Also happy to have one-on-one or separate meetings about that. There are a number of us that are working on getting funding for this. The First Person White Paper has a whole section on that. And some folks are there are a number of folks on this that want to see more funding for their pieces of the effort. So happy to work on that, together.
Yeah, if I can help with any of that, be happy to talk.
That'd be fantastic. Russ, go ahead.
Yeah, Drummond, I just want to say thank you for getting us all together. I've been on the frontier for years and years trying to explore and parallel some of these questions, and it really feels like we have a pack of fellow explorers, right? Like a caravan now, right? Where we can circle up and explore and scout out, where it's not just one person getting hit by an avalanche, so I really want to say thank you for starting this community, because it's meant a lot to me for a long time.
I really appreciate it, Russ. It's I've been telling folks, and I'm serious about it. This is a capstone of my work, 30 years of work doing this, and I want to get this to the tipping point before I step back from working on all this stuff full time. So I'm all in, and I really appreciate everyone that's here. I'm looking forward to this effort. You know, we're all in it together. So any ideas or anything, again, let's take to the Discord channel, to the wiki. If you have any questions about that, again, the membership at lfdecentralizedtrust.org, or support if there are any questions as you go through the process. And we will figure out, it may take us 2 weeks to set up that first meeting time. It can be hard to just immediately figure out, all right, what time is it next week? But I want to set up something no later than 2 weeks, and we'll get on a weekly meeting cadence schedule. And with that, we're at time. So I thank you all very much. And, you know, anyone's welcome to join the APAC call, which is, I believe, 6 p.m. Pacific. And I'll be on that tonight. And I thank you. It's fabulous. In fact, I'm going to take a quick screenshot just of this wonderful full set of faces. It's really great to see everyone here. Thank you all, and we're on our way.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers. Thank you, sir.